A Bloomberg business reporter, and he wrote last July a New York Times best-selling book called Devil's Bargain. It's out in paperback. They moved up the release date because of all the news that's happening. Joshua Green, welcome back to Big 550, KTRS here in St. Louis.
Great to be back with you.
So you watched the Golden Globe with Steve Bannon. Who brought the who brought the food?
Bannon actually has his meals catered, believe me. He has a little, manservant butler that kind of pops out with whatever it is he's eating that day. It's a very, very strange scene in the Bannon house. But, it was wild. I mean, the new paperback, the book tells the story of how Bannon and Trump came together, how they won the greatest insurgent presidential campaign victory in history. The new part tells the story basically of how that relationship blew up. And so one of the new scenes in the book is Bannon literally sitting there in the dark watching Oprah and the Golden Globes, like 3 days after Trump has just completely blown him up, called him Sloppy Steve, gotten him fired from Breitbart News. And there Bannon was still doing his thing, kind of cultivating this political backlash and trying to kind of warn Trump about the power of Oprah and the Me Too movement and this political backlash that he sees coming in November for Republicans.
Where are they now? Are they friends? Are they talking? Or is he still advising President Trump?
I don't know. I don't think he is. I mean, Trump is famous for kind of firing people, and then letting them back in. But nobody has been as publicly humiliated by Trump as Bannon has. Remember, he put out this unprecedented statement from the White House, Trump did, saying, basically, Steve is a loser who had nothing to do with my campaign, then went out and caused a rift between Bannon and his big financial benefactor, the Mercer family, and then Bannon lost his platform at Breitbart News, which had really been the key to a lot of his political power. So as far as I know, Bannon is out in the wilderness and Trump is ignoring him. But, it's often said in the West Wing that Trump's doghouse has a revolving door. If you look at the chaos going on in the West Wing right now with Bannon out there, you certainly can't pin it on him. It wouldn't shock me if at some point things get bad enough that Trump decides late one night to pick up the phone, and call his old strategist Steve Bannon. I think that's what Bannon is waiting for to happen.
Explain how Bannon was able to sort of read Donald Trump where others failed.
Bannon's a fascinating guy. He has this kind of public mystique as this kind of, dark, satanic figure or whatever they'd like to cultivate. But what he really did was two things. One, he was a business guy. He was an investment banker at Goldman Sachs, a Hollywood guy, made a lot of money. He's very Trump-like in the way he kind of talks, alpha male. So Trump liked him automatically. He had money. He wasn't one of these guys that kind of sucks up to Trump like a lot of his aides do. But the other thing Trump liked about him was that Bannon has a clear nationalist politics. And what Bannon, I tell this story in the campaign, what Bannon brought to Trump's campaign was the issue of immigration. And that, to me, is what the whole presidential election hinged on, and to an extent, what his presidency is hinging on. If you look at where we are with DACA and immigration, that's still the big fight. And Trump, with help from Bannon, was able to exploit that to beat what looked to be a very strong Republican presidential field in the GOP primaries, and then to beat somebody in Hillary Clinton who everybody in the media, including me, frankly, thought was unbeatable by Donald Trump, and they triumphed.
Bannon, after the Fire and Fury book, where he just rips President Trump and the family, must have gotten so much heat that he himself bowed down to Donald Trump finally.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, the thing you have to do if you want to stay in Trump's orbit, essentially, is to subordinate yourself and your own ego to Trump's. And Bannon has a habit of speaking a little too frankly to book authors. He said a lot of stuff to Wolf that basically got him blown out. He says to me, I described the scene the day that Bannon was fired from the White House last August. I described in the new issue of Devil's Bargain about how Bannon refused to take Trump's calls and told his friends, I'm sick of being wet nursed to a 71-year-old man. So, it's this habit of saying nasty things about Trump. And to be honest, a lot of people in the West Wing, a lot of Trump's top advisors do that, although they're a little bit more cautious about it than Steve Bannon is. That is the way people feel about him. And what I try to do in the book is really give you that in-the-room sense of what is happening between these two guys that's kind of, led to this great triumph for them in November of 2016, but B, has led to the kind of chaos you see roiling the White House today.
Joshua Green, the paperback book is now out, Devil's Bargain. When it first came out last summer, it was a New York Times bestseller, debuted at #1. When you were having dinner and snacks watching the Golden Globes, did Steve Bannon not tell you that if Oprah wanted to, Oprah could become president?
Oh, not only that, he was consumed with the idea that Oprah is such a galvanizing figure. And remember, like, this wasn't just a Bannon-Trump thing. It was like this national occasion. Oprah is hosting that awards dinner because she gave such a clear and coherent message for a lot of liberals and Democrats that seemed to galvanize the energy of the Me Too movement that, for the next 2 weeks, reporters like me and everybody on TV was talking about Oprah for president. Well, Bannon thought right then, he said, look, if she goes out, leave aside the president for now, if she goes out and campaigns for Democrats this fall on House elections across the country, he said, we're done. Republicans are done. Democrats will win back the House, and they'll use that power to try and impeach President Trump. And so he literally thinks that Oprah is an existential threat to Donald Trump, even if she doesn't run for president.
Joshua Green, the book is Devil's Bargain. One question about what's going on now. Can Republicans remain silent after the intelligence officers yesterday told Congress we are under attack currently?
I would ordinarily say no in any ordinary administration, but this isn't an ordinary administration. We're into week 2 of this Rob Porter spousal abuse scandal. That seems to be getting more prominence in the news. There have been consistent warnings from intelligence officials throughout. So, you would like to think that we were putting national security first and talking and thinking about that, but from what I see, I don't think that's any guarantee.
Bloomberg Business Week senior national correspondent Joshua Green out in paperback with the book Devil's Bargain. Joshua Green, you're always welcome here. Thank you for your work. Have a good day and good luck with the book.
Great.